Life is pain. Oblivion alone yields peace. You call me stranger. I call myself salvation.
The love of a god is not a blessing, it's a scar.
If destiny herself beckons me, then I shall greet her like an old lover.
There's gotta be more to life than making mistakes and making up for your mistakes.
I'm the Paragon of risk and reward, behaving as more of a suggestion.
Fate is an offer I intend to reject.
You don't know me. I'm unpredictable, bitch.
I don't need to be a paragon to help save the world.
I came back for a reason, and I am not stopping until I find it.
I will solve the cataclysm, and I'll solve the mystery of myself, too. 4 paragons, 4 keepers, 1 stranger. Huh. Odds are in our favor. Now let's go save Endake.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Arc 8, Episode 1 of Transplanar RPGs, The Second Stranger. This is the final arc of our 2.5-year plus long campaign, and I'm so excited to usher in the very first episode of this arc as your GM and creative producer, Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me all across the internet at by Connie Chang. That's BYCONNIECHANG. I'm going to pass along introductions for the last time for our first episode of the last arc to Austin.
Hey everybody, it's me, Austin. My pronouns are he, they, she. I play a Bhikkhu Ishtar, whose pronouns are she, they. It's the last first episode. Wow. I'm gonna pass it over to Val. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the introduction thing. Oh god. Like, at all.
Hi everyone, my name is Valiant Dorian. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm here with silver hair for Arc 8 because this is the first episode. That's weird. And I play Voska, Paragon Nebusa, who uses she, they pronouns. I'm gonna pass introductions over to Dare.
Hi, for some reason I've been allowed to talk. I'm Dare, pronouns she, they, fey. I'm playing Gentle, our lovely Triton monk, who, unlike me, has never done anything wrong once in their life. And I'm going to pass it over to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns, and I play Vasanti Nakshurzo, elf sorcerer who, like everybody else, doesn't ever do anything wrong or have any consequences, TM. I'll pass this on to Quinn, speaking of.
Hi, hello, I'm Quinn, and my pronouns are they, them, and I play Sitlali, everyone's favorite resident cleric / paladin of the weave. And they use they, she pronouns, and they're doing fine. Per usual. Always doing fine. Best they've ever been. Honestly, it's great. It's totally great. It's great. I'm vamping because I can't remember. And now I'm going to throw it to Max.
Hey, it's me, Max. My pronouns are they, them. I play Dewey Quirk, you know him. He's not fine, honestly speaking. Yeah, I'll pass it to Hamna.
Yes, hello, my name is Hamna. I use any and all pronouns, and I play Jaron Gother, who uses they, he pronouns, who is also not fine, actively dying with mother's blessing inside of them. Everything's great. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to pass it up and over to C.
Hi, my name is Sia. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me making very trans reggae art on the internet. Pie Sharp. I play Oka. All my boyfriends are dead or gone. Hien. So they're doing well, as you can imagine. Max, I saw that. So I am in fact going to pass it down to Valiant Dorian to get us started on our sponsorship stuff.
Hello, I'm Valiant Dorian, and I'm here to proudly announce on behalf of Transplanar RPG that this episode of The Second Stranger is sponsored by At Dimitri Opines and Explain Trade, a negotiation skills training consultancy believing in the power of D&D and Transplanar's potential to grow, tell great stories, and lift our communities up. Explain Trade trades negotiators for governments, big companies, NGOs, and offers e-learning courses for individuals looking to get a better deal from their boss. Please unionize, I beg of you. Check them out at explaintrade.com. And I think we have a group of folks to thank. Erica, who do we have to thank?
We love here to thank our Patreon patrons. These are the people who have given at the highest tier, and we love to thank you at the beginning of every episode. Those folks are Alex, Azra, Bradley, Brooke Bright, Charles, Chalakras, Cora Eckert, Emma, Hat, Conding, Lex Slater, Purple Mouse, Scruffuses, and Target. Thank you so much. And now, my favorite part of every beginning. Quinn, please help explain to Grandma Erica what happened last on Transplanar RPG.
Okay, Grandma Erica, you know what? It has been a minute, so let me refresh your memory. Last time on The Second Stranger, Dewey, Jiran, Sitlali, Vasanti, and Rev send a plea to the precepts, fate, and magic with help from Hana. The Myriad sacrifices himself to save Dewey, F's in chat, and helps the party escape from the URL. Meanwhile, Abiku, Voska, Gentle, Oka, and Costas play hide and seek with Oblivion and Tungal. Having a normal one, I see. When all hope is lost and the seed of annihilation is descending on them, Gentle accepts keepership and is able to pull the party out of the chasm. We love this. But it's too late. The stranger is here. Use the !recap command in chat to reach our full written recap document. Now I'll pass things over to Connie to introduce some new terrifying things.
Yes. So thank you for that preamble, Quinn. So, everybody, before we even get started with anything, I need all of you suckers to roll me a d20. A gay d20, no modifiers.
Nat 20.
Okay, nat 20 from Vasanti.
Nat 20 from Vosko, sorry.
Oh, nat 20 from Voska, okay. Okay.
Well, I'm muted, oh god. Nat 20 also from me, Austin. I swear to God.
Don't worry. I got a 5.
I got a 6.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. And Quinn?
I got a natural 20. Hi.
Max?
I got a 19, which is pretty much a natural 20 for me.
That's the most Dewey thing yet.
So, Erica, Val, Austin, Quinn got nat 20s. Dare and Helmina. Dare got a 5. Helmina got a 6. C got a 5. Max got a 19. No middling numbers. We say we fight and die like gays. What is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 nat 20s, 1 19, and 3 sub 10s. Wow. Okay, that is one way to kick off Arcade. Woo. Okay, let's get right. Let's keep going. In addition to this brand new secret mechanic, which I'm not going to talk about, those nat 20s could go to waste or not. We'll see. You'll see what happens with them later. Or maybe. I'm also very excited to introduce the Doom and Fortune tracker here in Arc 8 that you can see right over to the right of the overlay. So combat rolls during this session and perhaps potential future sessions as well will indeed move the Doom and Fortune tracker back and forth until Doom strikes or Fortune smiles on the party. So what that means is, I guess you'll have to find out if the combat rules get moved in one way or another. So time to game on, and let's move on to content warnings for this episode and the campaign in general. They may include fantasy violence, apocalypse, trauma and grief, depictions of war, body horror, gore, blood and bloodletting, death of loved ones, familial struggles, complex and complicated relationships, romance and references to sexual entanglements, monsters and monstrosities, and eldritch abominations. So use !CW in chat to get a look at our content warnings at any time, and !safety to learn about the cast's lines and veils to know what territory we'll never get into, no matter how dark things get. And now, for the title of this episode of Arc 8 Episode 1, the title is Yielding into the Long Dark, from Eulogy for a Dying World by Connie Chong. And the full verse reads as follows. The old woman, considering the end of all things, sits on her porch and waits. Chiming crickets chorus. Tadpoles conspire in dense clumps of ink. The wind trembles through the weeping of the willows, shaking down leaves like an overdue debt. Everything is going now, yielding into the long dark. The reeds, the cattails, the orchids, the bull tongues, the leeches, the honeycomb. The lynx is crawling into frame. The thorn wound in his paw is closed. An old length of bandage is wrapped around it. He limps onto the porch. He lies down. The ravens perch on the railing, praying. The old woman, considering the end of all things, names the mites rooting around in the thistles. She lights her pipe and waits. The 8 of you stagger against the edge of the Euclid chasm. Your feet find purchase on tenuously solid ground, and as you gather your wits, your thoughts, your breaths, apocalypse blooms around you like bright desert flowers after rainfall. Everything is crimson. Your eyes travel to the southern horizon where that pillar of red light slows in its ascending churn toward the cosmos, flickers, glitches like water coughing from a stuck pipe inverted. And then it stops because its purpose is done. And before your very eyes, the final patch of black starlight is swallowed by a tidal wave of blood-red void. And then, one by one, differing in size and shape, but sharing that same painted 8-dimensionality, the eyes open. And so do the wings. In the negative space between irises, the air shimmers, vibrates like a dream manifesting, and the feathers shake into existence, white, bleached, immaculate, bone-sharp, hard-edged, like cut diamond. The death of a world is profound, isn't it? This horizon like coral, vermilion, porous, eyes of crimson, bleeding, blinking, burned black veins burrowing through sky like parasites. The winnowing clouds, the plumes of lucent blood, the halos of void light above every painted eye of the mindless irises, roving like searchlights, like hunting dogs, like crosshairs. The breathless gasp, the rustling like bones in a faucet, the wings of the bodiless, layered, hexagonal, tessellated fluid, feathers quivering in supplication, in defense, in shelter. The end is here, my friends, and it has 8 names, and they are mother and mindless, chrysalis and bodiless, stranger and heartless, oblivion and eluso. All parts of this end are finally together. Bodiless wings, mindless eyes, heartless body, and they are all the same. The stranger. The eyes are the stranger, the wings are the stranger, the blood red light shooting through with black veins are the stranger. Dewey, Vasanti, Sitlali, and Jaron. The 4 of you explode into existence next to Oka, Voska, Abiku, and Gentle in a black, seething swirl of ever-changing demonic magic. The homestead of one Dr. Hitsagatan Eluso looms some 50 feet away from you, its roof collapsed. Gaping crevices from the earthquake earlier strike through the dirt like thunderbolts. And all around you, is mayhem. Shouting. Armed soldiers from Kirtal, Jukai to Long Talmud bustling to and fro, only a few glancing your direction amidst the chaos. You're surrounded by people everywhere, and before any of you can act, before even another heartbeat passes, she emerges. A hand, which is also a weapon, which is also a tower, rises out of the chasm several hundred feet wide, perhaps, at its narrowest. Thousands of feet long as the hand ascends, tall as a building, as a hill, as a mountain. Hand connects to arm / handle / beam, connects to shoulder / pommel / plinth. The stranger is indescribable, really. You have only ever seen it in your nightmares, taller than the world, and you have never questioned it. Because dreams are dreams, they do not obey logic, but now the waking world is subsumed with the force of Oblivion's non-reality, and you see it for what it is. A creature, a weapon, a building, all at once, immaculately smashed together to conceal its heartless heart. Oblivion, still mostly inside the chasm, slams the flat of its palm downward. And to the south, some 50 miles away, its fingers grasp the peaks of the god spine. Its elbow smashes into Kirtal, and it starts to pull itself out. And at this point, the earth is shaking. The sky is literally falling. People are screaming. And then, ripping through the bedlam, the braying screech of a bugle. The thundering rush of hooves, and Tokdoa Kagan rides through the panic astride a black steed, sunshot, strung in her hands, golden and gleaming like the dawn. She releases a flurry of glowing arrows into a swarm of gibbering, seething, winged, empty beasts descending from the bleeding, crying sky, and these arrows vanish into the black depths of this swarm, and then fingers of light beams peer through the shadows, and the beasts explode, raining down all around you in a cascade of mother's blood. And the Kagan's sharp, steely brown eyes land on your group, and she roars in a thundering voice. You, Paragons, keepers, to camp Vanguard, eastward. And she's urging her steed now, peeling east toward the yawning chasm, loosing arrows with every half second at the empty beasts beginning to spawn all around the homestead. And now we pan back to the 8 of you, starting with Abiku. Who are you? What do you look like as you're tangled in this pile on the ground with the rest of your companions? And what, in this moment, do you try to save?
I am Abiku Ishtar, the biggest woman you've ever met. Long white locks, black and gold, like tunic style dress. It does the cross thing. I don't know what that's called. You'd think I would have learned it after 4 arcs. I didn't. But it's like black with gold embellishments, this sick raven tattoo on the back, broad shoulders, strong arms. She's an archer. Clouded eyes. Me, Austin, is unaware, and then there are clouds on her face that the best way to describe them right now are like if a cloud could be afraid, they look like that. Whatever that looks like in your imagination is correct. I don't have an answer for you because I can't take it out of my brain and put it in yours. What do I try and save? Assuming that any NPC before is with us, that I'm trying to save Costas. who is terrible under pressure.
Yeah, okay. Costas is underfoot, I think pressed under Oka at this point, is sort of like still in that pile on the ground as you're disentangling yourself and watching the literal fucking end of the world emerge from the chasm, a couple feet to your right. And as your eyes, clouded, like swoop down and look at Costas, you see their like bisected face peer out from underneath an elbow, from around an armpit, eyes wide and fearful, just like the clouds thundering across your face. There's a moment where Costas is sort of like reaching out for you, right? Like underneath the pile, and you see panic beginning to build behind their eyes. Their fingers are like outstretched, and they're trying to like hold their arm out to you, and you hear them go, Abiku, help!
Yeah, I take my hand down and I'm like, I will not let anything happen to you, and I want to pull Costas out and put them on my back, Baby Yoda style.
And get out of there?
Yeah, and start, I want to use my, like, fire feet spell and start hoofing it.
Okay, I think because you're powerful enough, you can just sort of easily grab Costas out of this pile and like hoof them over your shoulder, and you begin to turn and just run toward the east, I assume, toward Camp Vanguard. Yes, yeah. As you start to hoof it toward the chasm, you hear a voice in your head, a familiar voice that you sent up and away from the chasm some minutes, hours, days, seconds ago. Sun's voice swirling in you like a thunderstorm. Abiku! And you feel a chill and a shadow fall over your shoulders. You look up and you see your Drake careening through the sky with Shrini on his back. And your ex-wife, girlfriend, fiance, lover, soulmate, who died and came back just like you did, is clinging onto Sun's neck and is looking all around. Her eyes are wide and frightened as well. And her, I think, hair is just like whipping around in the breeze as Sun sort of banks down toward the right and like starts swirling down around you. Come on, Abiku, get on.
I get on. I put Costa and I look back at the pile. Everybody, let's go.
Okay, yeah. Abiku, as you start to hop onto Sun's back, you see, descending out of the sky, there's monsters everywhere, right? The eyes of the mindless, which are also the stranger, have been bleeding these thick, long streams of mother's blood like it's a rainfall. And where these globules of blood red, black ink splash onto the ground, they begin to form beasts. Empty creatures. And you see a huge globule, I think, just sort of splatter against Sun's tail, and almost like sapient, sentient venom. It starts to come to life and form these like clawing, scratching black hands, like a conglomeration of just a pile of like black and red and white limbs start to weigh Sun down. And Shrini lets out a cry and turns to try to like cast some sort of spell, but is too spent, like way too spent from being embedded in a wall for a year to do anything effective here, right? What do you do in that moment?
I will use my Drake Breath ability that Sun grants me, so I'm gonna just let out a line of lightning.
Okay, that is going to be your combat roll, I think. Is that usually a save?
Yeah, dexterity save usually. So what would you like me to do instead?
I'm gonna ask you to make just an attack roll.
That is a over 20, 24.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. As you describe to me what it looks like as the magic starts to roar through your body.
Yeah, so Shunyi turns and like looks spent. And I think I swivel just in front of her and in front of Costas, and you see Sun's body light up, and the light like go back down and like shoot up through me, and then a beam of lightning comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, light like ripples up through your throat, like you've swallowed a sunbeam, and then this like purple lightning starts to explode out of your mouth. And on this purple light, like swallowing up the entire frame of view, when it dies down, we pan over to Dewey. Dewey, who are you? And what do you look like as you swirl and get zapped into existence right here on the edge of the Euclid by the Myriad's magic? And what do you try to save?
Dewey is the pigeon birdman you met 7 arcs ago. This time now he's wearing his robes. They've been dirtied. They've been covered in black blotches from the URL. His eyes are golden and bright, and they are looking down at his hands. He falls to his knees on the ground, arms outstretched to catch a demonic body that no longer exists. And he sits there for a hot second and then looks around for, I don't know, anyone. And he hesitates with his empty arms for a hot second, and then does the sort of phone wallet keys thing, pats down his pockets, and looks around for his daughter and the rope trick gadget that holds his ex-wife and also some reformed scientists from the URL, and his friends, and looks around and grabs as many of those people as he can before heading over to where he sees a Biku.
Yeah, Dewey, as you gather your wits, you also see sort of swirling with the same black demonic ever-changing magic into existence Hana next to you. She sort of reels forward like she was in the middle of just sending the message that has Dusty in it, and she's sort of still like kneeled on the ground, like her hands in almost like a workman's position, like, but now the tools clatter out of her fingers onto the ground as her eyes widen as she looks at Apocalypse breaking across the atmosphere, and then her eyes fix onto you, her dad, and then slide off of you as we see a rope sort of like fall out of the air, and road trip I think ends because of, I mean, so much has happened. I think the concentration snaps on it, and you see tumbling out of space, just sort of poofing into existence, several scientists just sort of like roll across the ground, as well as your ex-wife, Uolani. They all just sort of like fall onto the ground. There's a moment there as you turn and you try to rally them, but then you feel something tug at your waist. And at first you're like, is Hana grabbing on to my trousers? Like, what's happening? But as you turn and look, you realize what it is. It is your god jar, Dewey. It is Forge. You see Forge sort of twist and yank backward, and there's a split second where Forge, where the sash that like ties it to your body, snaps. And you hear a voice in your head, Dewey. A voice that you had just heard literally 3 seconds ago, now ringing in your mind space.
Yes. The two of you really do suit each other in the end, don't you? A failure of a Paragon, and a failure of a demon. I think I'll be taking this, Cardu.
And Forge vanishes.
Dewey slaps his hand to his waist just a moment too late. Is it just gone? Is okay,
so yeah, as you slap your palm to your hip, you feel Galtanger, her presence, swirl from Forge into you fully. Like you feel her like basically like make way, you know, as like this like radiant energy fills up your soul. And maybe there's even like some relief basking in the sunlight of, oh god, okay, Galtanger's here with me. But you do lose something that's not just your Paragon weapon. You feel that thread connecting you to Dusty. That thread of sunlight beaming you all the way up toward the nothing plane, past it, just snap. And you can't feel Dusty anymore.
I think Dewey, like panicked frantically, is sort of like, he falls back to his knees and he's just like pawing at the ground, like, Dusty, Dusty, are you there? And he's just like sort of trying to grab onto wherever Dusty could possibly, wherever that thread he just let go of for 2 seconds.
And then you hear cutting through this chaos. It's almost like all noise falls out. You're sort of pawing at the dirt, trying to find Dusty. And then what brings you back is, Dad, we have to go. Now, I think there's a teleportation pad over there. Come on, a bunch of people are headed there.
Okay. Have you seen Dusty? Where's Dusty?
Dusty's past the nothing plane now, Dad. We have to trust him. Remember? To bring the message to the other precepts?
I'm supposed to hold on to him.
What? Where's your... That doesn't matter right now. Come on.
Okay, and Dewey lets himself be pulled by Hana.
Ulani also gets to her feet, and like the two scientists on either side like help Ulani as she's sort of limping because she's still real fucked up from earlier. And like this group of you, the four of you huddled, like start making your way through the chaos toward a teleportation sigil that you sort of see just flashing colors as people get on it, teleport away, get on it, teleport away. It's sort of just like a portal to like get away from this area and like leave. There's a big crowd starting to form around it. So Dewey, tell me, how do you keep your daughter, your ex-wife, and these two scientists safe as you're moving through the crowd?
Yeah, I think with the help of Galtanger fully within his soul, residing within his soul now, now that the God Jar is gone, he's got this sense of like when these globs of emptiness are falling from the sky, and he's got the sword that formerly housed Dusty, and he just swings it and like slashes through these things as they're about to fall down onto his family.
Yeah. Okay, make an attack roll for me then, and that will be your combat roll.
Oh wait, I get to add my strength. That's a 14 total.
Okay. Noted. As you swing this sword, this longsword that formerly held Dusty around, cutting down, I think, beast after beast after beast, hobbling your way over to the sigil on one last glimmering, gleaming slash of this golden blade, empowered by Galtanger's energy, we pan down to Jiran. Jiran, who are you? What do you look like as you stagger into existence with the myriad's energy wafting off your body? And what do you try to save?
Okay. I think you see their right arm like slam up against the ground first, their prosthetic black obsidian that leads up to a lotus flower on their elbow first, as Jiran kind of like wasn't expecting this teleportation to occur and stumbles as they land into the Euclid chasm, into this space, and they land on the ground, their long white hair flowing in front of them. They are a green dragonborn with dark brown skin that sort of fades into these dark green scales, tail, broken horns except for one with blue morosy threads sort of wrapped and tied between them. But today they also have their eyes, which are normally the color of blackberry juice, today are completely black. No irises, no scleras, black. And they are crying this inky, oozing black substance, and it's flowing down their face as they sort of land here, and they gasp as they do so. And I think Jiran just kind of like sucks in a deep breath and like looks around frantically to see where Sitlali is. And I think knowing after what we went through in the URL, what literally just happened 5 minutes ago, maybe, Jiran's instinct is that he needs to get himself and Sitlali out of here.
Yeah, okay, as your pure black, bleeding, crying eyes scan this battlefield, you see, sure enough, Sitlali also sort of like staggering into existence, that same kind of magic starting to brim off of their shoulders. And I think you do see Sitlali in some kind of immediate peril as they're getting their footing. You see kind of coming from directly behind them, clawing its way out of a puddle of mother's blood that's oozed down from the sky. A creature I can only describe as an amalgamation of a person and like an armored spider, I suppose, on the back. Just limbs that end, I think, in these grabbing hands as opposed to pincers or anything like that, but there are multiple limbs. And it's sort of scuttling forward with the limbs behind it sort of powering it upward, and there's a torso rising out of the shadow. And it doesn't have any facial features or anything like that. It's just pure void with several little bits of what's interesting, like these red eyes blinking across its shadowy form. And it's approaching Sitlali very quickly from behind. What do you do?
Well, I didn't mean for that to happen. Okay. Jiran, seeing this, is going to quickly scramble up to his feet and I think literally tackle Sitlali out of the way, like grabbing onto them and like rolling around the ground. And as he does so, they are going to cast invisibility to, ideally on both of us, if you will allow it, to make it so that this creature doesn't know where we went, and ideally nobody can find us and attack us.
Okay, I need you to make either an Arcana check or a spell casting check. So use your spellcasting modifier and your proficiency bonus and roll a d20. Up to you.
Ooh, okay, I got a 28.
Noted. Okay. Jiran, as you grab onto Sitlali, I think your soul still feels cracked open. There's still a literal fucking hole in the middle of your chest, right? From that miniature mother's blessing that you took as you tackle Sitlali and invisibility wipes over both of you. And I think this is a good place for us to pan over now to Sitlali. So Sitlali, in the moments before Jiran attempts to tackle you, right? Why don't you tell us who you are? What you look like as you also whirl into existence with the myriad's magic, and what you try to save.
Yeah, so Sitlali is 6 feet tall currently. The sides of their hair shaved, and they have this long mane of like all sorts of pastel hair, black lips surrounded by a manicured pastel stubbled beard. They've got Lichtenberg scars from their encounter with Vanash that one time, LMAO. They're sort of faded now, but like all across their body that kind of coalesce around their heart. And from a line of the ones around their heart are 3 marigold tattoos? Question mark? Will they get more this arc? Who knows? Let's find out. And they're wearing high-waisted leather pants, thanks Stewie. And her old dress has been chopped into a crop top. Oh, right. Also, they've got like sort of a swirling alcohol ink like star map of Andake that just kind of moves across their body. And right now it's dark and it almost looks like it's storming. Like it's darker than normal. The stars are a little dimmer. And I think as they land here, after kissing Lilith and it not working with that minor bit of precepthood that they had from being a precept 5 minutes ago, they were a precept 5 minutes ago. They were a precept 5 minutes ago. They were in fact a precept 5 minutes ago. I cannot stress this enough for where that they are mentally. They were a precept. So, sorry, now I'm stuck there. Yes, they were a precept 5 minutes ago. What are they trying to save? Sitlali is looking for mercy. Sitlali is just scanning and using every ounce of perception, which is probably the only reason they didn't notice the empty beast behind them. They're looking for mercy.
Yeah, your eyes like wash across this battlefield. It's almost like we see you in first person now. Like we pan to the left kind of shakily, we pan to the right kind of shakily. You're scanning faces, scanning locations, scanning beasts descending upon this crowd. And then I think maybe what I'm going to ask for you is a perception check for your combat roll.
Cool. I'm good at those. 29.
Noted. And you see her. Mercy. This green-skinned half-orc woman. She's currently standing on a boulder that does not look like it's from Talmud. It looks like it was like a chunk of it had been. It looks like a god spine boulder. The sky is falling. The world is ending. Things are messy. Things are flying through the air and slamming onto the ground. The ground is shaking, etc., etc. And you see her standing on top, literally scanning around with her the flat of her hand above her eyes as she looks frantic. And her like long red hair is whipping like a flag in the wind, and next to her is Squeak, also on the boulder, sort of like hopping up and down, like looking around fearfully, right, and like tugging on like Mercy's trousers. And with your 29, you hear Squeak's voice like above the wind go,
Mercy, we have to go. I don't see your partner anywhere. Listen, we have to save ourselves at this point.
Squeak, I'm not going anywhere, okay, until we find Sitlali. And that's when Jiran slams into you and the two of you go invisible. And the empty beast behind the two of you, as you stagger out of the way, cleaves like through the ground, like slashes and like tears up like the pebbles and the dirt and the soil around you in this huge tract of land, like bulldozing past the two of you.
A lot has happened. And after the everything that was the URL, Sitlali feels a little bit different. And Sitlali tugs on a part of the weave that they didn't notice before and casts message instead of sending. to Mercy and goes, hey, I'm invisible, but like, I'm here. Are you good? Are you safe? How have you been? I miss you. Hi, this doesn't have a word limit. I don't think, does it have a word limit? Tell me if it has a word limit. I don't really know how this works. I don't know what's happening. are you okay? I love you.
Sonali! Oh, yes, thank God, thank the aid. Okay, I'm a believer now. I promised I'd worship you if you found Sonali, and you did. So, hi, yes, okay, I love you. I guess I'm a devotee of the Raven Queen now. Whatever. So, I'm sorry, it's okay. There's the teleportation pad. I know you're invisible, but there. I think where Dewey and everyone else is going. You'll see those flashes of light. That'll get us to Camp Vanguard. See you there?
Absolutely. And I think they try to tug Jaron, who is on top of them.
And as the two of you, I think, tug and pivot and turn toward that teleportation portal as well, as your invisible forms warp out of frame, we're going to pan around over to Voska. Voska, who are you? What do you look like as you're, I think, tangled in this pile of people on the ground? And what do you try to save?
Voska is this pureblood Yuan Ti who has this beautiful, icy freckled mess of white hair that sits wavy upon her head with a crisp undercut underneath it. Her eyes are an icy blue and a deep fog gray as a sign of her Paragonhood. She wears these lithe, flowy robes of black and gold that are held extremely slim against her small form. And there is a torso window in which you can see her top surgery scars underneath that. She's holding on to Parable, her Paragon weapon, a rope dart that has thick rope wound up her arm, and watching two of her best friends fly off into the sunset together. The literal end of the world. Silali was here a second ago, and now they're gone. Voska clocks the most immediate danger and looks for Oka.
Ooh, I'm gonna put a pin in what you do, Voska, actually, as we pan across the battlefield to Oka. Oka, who are you? What do you look like as you're maybe also tangled under Voska while this is happening, right? But then we're Biku and Costas were just moments ago. What do you try to save as well?
Speaking of the most dangerous, speaking of your problem child of the hour, Oka Hyen is a gray-skinned, half-drow person with a ton of freckles across their face, a scar bisecting their lip. You know it, you love it. 2 pupils in each eye, except for that one that changes every time they blink because, oh my god, they're a Paragon now. They've been a Paragon for 3 days, maybe, and now this is happening. Not doing well. Their hair is long, braided into this gorgeous braid that sweeps behind their head. They have 4 pairs of wings that are currently, half of them are crumpled underneath Bud, as all of us are on the ground. They're wearing a bone corset. You can see their top surgery scars. You can see their nipple piercings. They're wearing necromancer chic, one could say. And there is blood sweat dripping down their face. Both of their eyes are blown open wide, and they keep every other eye that they blink to is blue, familiar Dr. Lusa's eye coming out of their face every other time that they blink in rapid succession as they see all of their nightmares finally coming to fruition. And Oka makes eye contact with Voska, and then their gaze pans over to where everyone is heading to the east towards the teleportation dais. And then it pans to the west where the cottage is and where Dr. Aluso left their lab coat sitting on the armchair in front of the fireplace. They look at Voska again, and then they get up and they go for it. And I think as they take one firm inhale, I did not use this feature of Prism in the last arc. They pull in and they hold time in their throat. And since I rolled so high, the last time I used Prism, I can stop time for 8 seconds. So they use those 8 seconds to sprint as fast as they can towards the cottage to give themselves extra time.
Okay. I think what that means is you can make your roll with advantage, given the fact that you've stopped time. So, because that's huge. That's a huge boon. So I need you to make either a sleight of hand dexterity check or an acrobatics check.
Acrobatics, baby. Let's go. Okay, that was a natural 19. Plus 32.
Okay, noted. I've noted it. Oka, everything around you slows down and then clicks to a stop. The gibbering beasts, the wailing sky, the sundering earth, the bleeding monsters. You hop, duck, slide, and sprint your way toward that inverting homestead with its collapsed, crumpled-in roof. You dash up the steps of that front porch, you bust down the door, and your hands are wrapped in that familiar white fabric, hanging off the arm of that armchair. And when you turn and start to dash out, that's when time starts to click back into place. You see things start to hurry up again, and the first things that are the fastest to move are the irises of the eyes in the sky. It's like they were frozen as well, but they start to move much faster, much sooner than everyone else. And Voska, as your eyes follow Oka, they suddenly disappear. They're gone, and then you see them in the doorway of Dr. Luz's homestead holding on to Hitsagidan's coat. And you also see irises of various eyes in the sky swivel and start to fix on Oka. What do you do?
Oh my god, Voska's face drains of color in that second gaze that Oka casts towards them before vanishing from their sight. And just like in Arc 6, just like in Jukai, we see that look of mortal panic flash before Voska's face before they notice where Oka is. And just like in Arc 6, let's see if this works this time. Voska starts swinging Parable, and this shrill of electric guitar music starts playing as she swings it around and round and round. It looks like old-timey film flashing images of the rope. And she is going to cast Dimension Door because she needs to get to Oka now, and she needs to get to Oka fast. And she'll cast Dimension Door so she can just appear immediately there by swinging Parable into a portal as it forms and ripples out of space and swings into it as it's held taut against something.
Okay, it happens. A aperture in space-time folds open cleanly as you swing yourself through and appear right next to Oka.
Wolf, what is going on?
Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Oka just grabs onto Voska's body.
We're dimension dooring to the east.
Okay.
Fuck
so
this.
To make sure you're fast enough, Voska, I need you to make a combat roll as well. So roll me either a Arcana check or a spellcasting check.
We're going Arcana. I've got expertise. Let's do this. Oh, thank God I have expertise. That is a 24, 10 plus 14.
Noted. You grab Oka and the two of you vanish. And on the two of you disappearing out of reality, we pan down over to Gentle. Gentle, who are you? What do you look like as you're picking yourself right up out of this tangle of friends who are rapidly disappearing from around your body? And what do you try to save?
Starters, Gentle, lovely little Triton. So, blue skin, green hair. They wear pretty baggy, flowy clothes, like big baggy patchwork pants, and a big cloak, which by now might as well be this one that I wear every time. And in terms of how Gentle looks, there's been one major addition, which are a series of tattoos, or essentially one tattoo, running from their fingers up their arms, almost wrapping around them in a circle around where their heart is, which makes not only a very convenient statement, but also a very convenient target. Hopefully Connie doesn't use that. But anyway, I think the initial reaction is Gentle is going to try to see what people are around who need help getting out of here. other civilians and stuff similar to what Dewey was doing. Because I'm fast, I can help get people moving. I think I also just tell Bud, go, like, follow Oka, follow Laska, follow everyone else heading away from here.
Ruff. And Bud turns and starts peeling off, I think, toward one of the teleportation daises, just completely obeying you in this moment of, like, pure chaos. They just take your word for granted. And as you scan this area, I think you see many people in peril, but the person in most immediate danger is just like a regular Kyrian soldier. You may have seen them around camp here before. I think maybe you even distinctly remember serving them tea when they were like complaining of having like achy knees one night. They have this kind of like short cropped brown hair. They are a tiefling with these tiny little nubbin horns, and their leg is currently pinned underneath, I think, a shattered part of a boulder. And in the chaos around them, none of their comrades are seeing them because they're so like focused on their own survival that they're calling out kind of weakly, like, hey, can you help? Can someone help me? As they're trying to grab at their leg. And you see sort of like several of these howlers, these empty beasts with these big bulbous throats filled with this noxious poison are starting to like approach and like a pack of hungry hyenas. What do you do?
I'm not really worried about the poison, thankfully, because I'm kind of immune to that. I'm charged again. I'm going to, even if one person, I'm going to try to save them.
How? Are you going to try to like just tug them out and grab them and flee? Or are you trying to dispatch the threats before you grab them?
I think the initial idea would be pulling them out just enough that I can just hit flying. Once I start moving, it's fine. It's just getting them out of there. So I might even try to use a gust of wind or something to buy me enough time to loosen them.
Okay, I think you do use gust of wind. I'll give you advantage on an athletics or strength check to move the boulder, because if you can't, there's no like non-brute way of getting them out.
I know.
Yes. But I'll give you advantage on that.
Thank you. Because I am not strong. 18.
Noted. You like slam. You slam against the boulder, and I think you're able to tilt it up just enough for them to scramble out of the dirt. But they're like wincing as it seems like their leg is definitely fully crushed, right? But like through a surge of adrenaline, they like grab onto you and pull themselves to like full height, and they're saying, "Thank you, gentle, right? No time for that. Back, you horrid little dogs. The Paragon. There's camp Vanguard. It's a converted war camp from a couple weeks back. We can head to that teleportation sigil over there."
Yeah. I think I just give them some straight up healing, enough for them to walk. Just in case I see anyone else needing help, I won't be able to hold them and do that at the same time.
Totally. I think you're able to just do it because you're a monk. You use your hand of healing, I assume, so you can pat your hand against their crushed leg and invigorate it just enough so they can sort of hobble along next to you toward, I assume, the dais.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think, Gentle, we pan to your back as you're strongly supporting this soldier as the two of you cut your way through the crowd toward that glowing stone platform. And under one of the bright explosions of light erupting out of that pillar, when it fades back down, we come onto Vasanti's face. So Vasanti, who are you? What do you look like as you stumble into existence with the Miria's magic fluttering off your body? And what do you try to save?
Vasanti Nakshurzo is an elf woman, a sorcerer with draconic ancestry, and she has one Kelly green eye and one purple eye, courtesy of one Scott and Nectus. You can also see across her face they're getting much fainter now, like little lines of stitches where Scott and Nectus literally threaded her back together in the nothing plane. She has white long hair. She's wearing like a green shirt and an armor, and most notably a new bracer along her left arm that on the end of it, still with the glow of magic, is a red dragon claw, basically mage hand around her left hand. And when we last left her, she was kind of emo because Lilith said things that hurt her feelings and made her feel bad about herself. So she's in a little bit of a daze for a moment. She's acquainting herself with where she is now. And I think because of all these sort of earthquakes around the ranch, Probably the fences that probably kept any animals in the stable has been broke apart, and there is Shadow, her horse, that she got in Kirtal. And she immediately goes, I need to save Shadow, and like whistles and starts running in that direction, and immediately upon the whistle, Shadow hears it and like gets all excited and starts running towards Vasanti, and they meet up somewhere in the middle and big embrace. But obviously there's no time to talk, so Vasanti just hops right on there like the new cowgirl that she is, and starts seeing where everybody is, seeing that there's obviously a sigil that everyone seems to be running towards, teleportation circle, and she just clicks her heels into Shadow and starts booking it for that transportation circle as fast as possible.
I like that. I think given what you're doing here, I need you to make an animal handling check.
Come on, it's an at 20. Plus.
Ooh. Okay, what's the total?
27.
Okay. Good to know. Shadow weaves and hops and like dodges and sprints and gallops all the way toward that teleportation dais. I think your hair is sort of like flowing in the wind to like the beat of like Shadow's hooves against the ground as you're sort of like hunched over bareback, right? As Shadow sort of like neighing, mane flowing like on either side of your hand, right? And I think you sort of see blipping through space. Rev, in flurries of feathers, is also like maneuvering her way toward that dais, and there's like a split moment where she's like soaring through midair, like dropping downward with her like feather cape like floating behind her broad shoulders, and the two of you lock eyes for a half second before she nods and disappears and reappears by the dais again. And I think Vasanti, we lose you in the crowd as Shadow gallops toward that dais. And then we pan back, I think, over the congregation of Bedlam to Abiku. Abiku, this magic in your throat explodes out of your mouth and, sure enough, slams into these grabbing shadowy hands, I think, trying to get Sun's tail. And you sear most of it off, but kind of like a lizard with its tail cut off, one of the limbs detaches from the rest of the body and grows these extremely sharp, like nails, like claws, as long as your forearm at least, each claw like exploding outward, and launches itself forward even as the rest of its companions are seared into nothingness by your magic toward Shringi. And you're still, this is like happening in bullet time, you're still breathing out, right, that magic, and your eyes widen, right, those clouds in your irises swirl even more as I think fear, instinctual fear, bubbles up in your chest as your gaze travels across the length of Sun's back as this thing rises to pierce her throat, and then you feel something hard and cold ripple into existence in your palm, and repelling into reality is Grim. One of your arms is thrown out, you're holding on to Grim, and we see in the last moment that blade like swipe out as those claws like smash uselessly against like Grim's blade and like bend and snap off at like a 90-degree angle, and Grim almost like it's like instructing you how to wield it. You feel something urging you, like bend your arm just so to parry. Do you do it?
Yeah. She's very good at listening.
Yeah, you scoop your elbow down and you flick, I think, the muscle of your forearm just so, and that claw just is flung uselessly off to the side, and Shringi is deflected, right, like from danger. And then there's like a split second and you see Rev's face in Grim look at you and nod, and there's like a shared understanding as you lock gazes, and then Grim poofs and vanishes as well, and you're there with Shringi and Sun.
We don't have, let's go. I don't know what that was. Let's, Sun, hurry.
Wonderful. Yeah, you like hop onto Sun, and with two massive beats of Sun's wings, they explode into the air and soar off toward the east. And we leave the homestead in a state of broken, collapsed, dilapidated chaos. And it's time to tally up your doom and fortune rolls, my friends. So we got 4 failures and 4 successes, which means it is a net total of 0, which means our fortune and doom tracker stays at -2. which means something kind of bad happens. So even as all of you vanish and this crowd of people that had been at this like impromptu war camp by Dr. Luso's homestead begins to dissipate, those irises that were glowing above Dr. Luso's cottage that had been fixed on Oka, the glow rises and rises and brightens, and we see several strings of void light shoot forward, 8 of them, coalesce in the middle, and boom, boom, a massive hammer of light shoots down onto the cottage and just absolutely obliterates it, like from the sky. We see like shingles vanishing into dust, like a nuclear explosion. We see like the porches like rise up, right? Like the earth gravitate into the air and then flicker into dust as this bubble of pure void energy expands, and wipes across our entire screen. In the midst of apocalypse, Camp Vanguard is a beacon of hope. This place used to be Toktoa's main war camp, tucked in the central foothills of the Ogumor River Valley, but has since moved to the southeastern tip of Kirtal, some 100 miles north of the Godspine. Camp Vanguard now rests in the shadows of the Tenushlek Desert to the south, shaded by towering dunes of sand with pockets of bristling needlegrass. The climate here is dry, warm, and like everything else now, red. The survivors of the stranger's emergence cluster in this camp, teleporting into existence, zapping into reality from an erected dais, huddling against horses, tending to livestock, restringing bows, sharpening blades. In the near distance, we hear the howling of empty beasts, muffled explosions, screams. Occasionally, an eye in the sky brightens, seems to charge or cry, swirling vortices of energy wrapping around its pupil, and then a razor-sharp needle of energy punches into the ground all across Endake. The sky is flashing with this activity, rippling like lightning in the throat of a storm. And to the west, the far, far west, we and all of you see the stranger. Oblivion's body, weapon, lair, spiraling out of the Euclid like a staircase to nowhere. Its emergence, especially from a distance, seems slow, almost peaceful, like it's not even moving, half out of the ground, half still in it, like a statue that's ballooned from Mercury. But you all know the truth. Up close, it moves faster than gravity. I don't think any of you know how long it'll be before all of it is out. It could be days, could be hours, could be weeks, could be minutes or seconds. But for now, there is a momentary measure of, peace isn't quite the right word, but let's say absence of immediate chaos and danger. Some braid of a breath to recover. And we're gonna pan across Camp Vanguard, across the gurs, the stables, the fences, the shanties, actually, to find, staggering out of their own invisibility, Jaron. Jaron, make a death save.
Did you say death?
Yes, make a death save.
I got a 2.
That is unsuccessful. Okay, mark 1 on your box. Mark a failure.
Okay.
Jaron, as you stagger forward, I think Sitlali, the invisibility also warps off of you, and I think you're on like a slight slope, kind of, and there's like a little bit of sand tumbling by your ankles, and you see Jaron just stagger forward, and with your 2 Jaron, you fall to your knees, and you cough, and black blood like erupts onto the ground from your mouth.
I think the sheer effort that was required to cast invisibility on himself and on Sitlali, I think was probably too much, and that's like what pushed them closer into death. The threads that are weakly holding him on to this plane, onto the weave, starting to snap a little bit. And Sitlali, if you're looking, you can see that along their skin, probably easiest to notice on their arms more than anything else, small eyes start to form, and they start to blink into existence, one after the other, crimson, mirroring the eyes that we saw on the stranger up above just now.
Yeah, so Sitlali is going to put their cane into like the holster that it has and just like tumble after Jiran. And I think just starts yelling, Oka, 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 are you here? Where's Oka? Oka, where the fuck is Oka? Someone get me Oka! And like, Sitlali drops to their knees, pulls Jiran into their lap, and is like, scrambling at what healing they have and yelling for Oka.
I think as you yell for Oka, almost like Sen is answering your prayer, dimension dooring into place, mere feet away from you are Voska and Oka.
Jiran, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Oka, Jiran, look at me.
Oka.
Look at me. Look at me.
And I think Jiran does look up at you, but there is no... I mean, they don't really have irises or pupils, so it's hard to tell where exactly they're looking anyway, but even if they could, I think it's clear to you that their vision is not focused on you. They're looking at you, but they're looking past you and looking beyond you at the same time. And like, I think this blood is like still like dripping out of their mouth as they're laying in your lap, and like some of it is like falling onto you even.
Oka apparates into existence, the thing that they hate most in the world, and they stagger, I think, and like the noise, the sound, the lab coat clenched in their fist so tight that their knuckles have gone white, holding onto Voska. They blink, stagger for one moment, hear Sitlali's voice, their like neck like whips around. They see Jiran on the ground there, and they immediately start moving, like, and I think they even like trip in the chaos, and then they're just like crawling on all fours towards both of them. What is this? What happened? What? And I think they try to call up the blood tether between themselves and Jiran, like they like immediately. And I think this like rust-colored wire, it looks more like wire than like living bright red blood, like kind of comes out of their own chest. And I think if it's okay with you, Hamna, out of Jiran's as well, with these like severed edges. And Oka looks at the severed edges, looks at Jiran, looks at Sitlali, looks at Jiran. Voska! Sorry.
Voska's already there. Like, she heard Sitlali call out for you and has as we know, a deep amount of respect for Sitlali. Hands over. Everything's not good over there, and she is like rushing after like Oka, who's like animalistically crawling onto the ground over to Jiran, and just like slides on over and just kind of like looks at the situation. I've not seen what happened to Jiran. What can I determine on what's happening to them?
Yeah, why don't you make a medicine check for me?
Thank God I took skilled in medicine. Is all I will say. That's a natural 19 plus 11. So 31?
Okay, as you like drop down to where Jiran is and you assess the situation here, you're like looking them up and down, you're like trying to tell exactly what's happening here. You see that hole carved into Jiran's chest, like it's been punched out of them. Like you could probably put your hand in it if it were just full of void. You're not sure what would happen. If you placed something inside of it, you have a feeling it would be obliterated. And something about that hole in the center of Jiran's chest makes you think of the seed of annihilation. There is a part of oblivion, of mother's blood, of nothing anti-magic that is within Jiran, and it is eating them alive. You don't know how they're still here. They must have been holding on to sheer stubbornness, sheer force of will or something, but they are rapidly dying.
I think Voska just turns to everyone and is like, we need to get this anti-magic, this empty, this oblivion out of him, and is like scrambling to stabilize Jiran's soul so they have enough time for either Sitlali or Oka to try and remove the empty magic from Jiran.
I think as you say that you need to like get this out of them, Jiran can hear you vaguely, and I think they sort of like gurgle, like mumble out towards Oka, who is sitting by them. Reward. The dagger. Kane's dagger.
Oka gets that real fast. I think they go to put it into Duran's hands, and they notice all of the eyes, like almost like tattoos, starting to open, and they flinch because they exploded a boat about that once. And there's like an instant like, what? Tell me what? Duran, what happened?
Adam, Mother's blessing, Lilith. And they kind of like raise their hand as if they were going to like grab that fraying tether that is coming out of Oka's chest.
Time for that later. Come on. Sitlali? They're dying.
I think Sitlali has a hand on Duran's face and then puts like a hand up to Oka's face and goes, I know. They have been for a hot minute now. It's kind of hard to tell because they took this out of Adam before I killed him, but he's I have an idea. I don't know if it'll work. Maybe it'll work because we're both together.
Do it now.
Okay. And Sitlali is going to attempt to fuck with time, using Sin to try and go reverse time, but only for Duran's body, where they had more health and vitality, while also casting life transference to like give them almost like doing the electric fucking paddles like IRL.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to make an Arcana check.
Yeah, I figured. That is a natural 19. 28.
Okay, noted. So, Sitlali, as you scramble to repair Duran, tell me how this time magic bleeds out of you.
I think the alcohol ink kind of coalesces out like behind them into those wings again, and this time they are raven feathers, like half black, half pastel, because they're doing deathy things. We love some sacrilege. We love a little bit of sacrilege to start off an arc. I think their grip on Oka tightens a little bit, maybe enough to draw like a little bit of blood because, you know, and they just will it back. Like they ask Sin and they just will it back, like time back as their own essence, kind of like vitality starts to go into Duran in this like outpouring of pink from their chest.
Yeah, I think the black veins that have begun to spiderweb across Duran's skin start to like retreat. That hole in the center of Duran's chest stays, though. It doesn't get any smaller, but the black veins do begin to retreat, and Duran, you do feel that searing pain that's been with you ever since you left your version of the garden in Lilith's construction of reality. That pain is still like flaring on every nerve, every blood vessel, every cell across your entire existence. But some of it begins to fade and dull just a little as Sitlali is helping. So Sitlali, you are able to like stabilize Duran a little bit and keep them there, but even your magic, even your 28, won't be enough to fully heal or fully restore Duran. We need a lot more than that. And Voska, I think you can tell based on your medicine check that even though Sitlali's work personship is really good here, there needs to be more.
I need more, Oka. I need this out of them. Any healing I do for him will be for naught unless we get the empty out of him.
He won't let you take it out.
If you take it out, he'll bleed to death. Just seal it in. And Oka is going to, I'm gonna do some fuck shit. Oka's gonna take the edge of that blade, Kane's dagger, and cast, I don't know, light on it, divine will ass something, so that it gets really, really hot, like radiantly hot, with the edge of the blade, and almost like not cutting on Duran, but like sliding the flat of the blade up their arms and passing over the eyes to seal them in and burn them away. That's what they're gonna try.
Duran screams.
Yep.
As you do this, like visceral, guttural scream.
Yep.
Oka, make me either an Arcana, medicine, or religion check.
30.
Understood. So as you slide the flat of the blade down Duran's skin, we see several of the eyes begin to close. Just sort of like they were open and blinking and even looking almost like alive tattoos, like crimson tattoos on Duran's skin, and then they just shut and vanish. And there's like a little bit of like a burning skin smell and ashy residue as the blade glows red hot and passes over the top of it. But there is one eye you can't get rid of, and it is a blinking open eye on the back of Duran's neck. Voska, you feel that Oka's assistance alongside Sitlali's is getting there. It's close, but it's not quite. There's still a little bit more help that Duran needs, and I think maybe at this point your eyes are drawn. I mean, Nitbuza tugs you toward Gentle, who's spiraled into existence right alongside Bud on this grassy, sandy knoll that everyone is on. And you also turn and you see Dewey, Uolani, two researchers in lab coats that you don't recognize at all, the Hana. You see Vasanti galloping into existence like on a horse. You see a Biku like swooping down on Sun and Shrinyi, and you get the feeling that the answer is right here in front of you. It's in the threads that bind you to Gentle and also inextricably to everyone else here. What do you do?
Voska is going to do the thing that she did with Gentle when she first noticed that tether to Gentle and understood that Gentle was their keeper, and do that to everybody as if all of the tethers and threads surrounding her, connecting to everyone else, is like a zither, and just plays all of them at once, summoning everyone closer to her so that we can get all hands on deck to save Duran. And it's just this putting your finger at the edge of the piano and pulling all the way across.
And I think all of you now, Abiku, Gentle, Vasanti, and Dewey, the four of you feel something tugging at you toward where Duran is collapsed on the ground, and almost like you've got a fistful of threads and you're pulling them all like inward, right? Like kites that have been let loose and now come home to roost. I think all of you find yourselves turning, compelled, moving in the direction of Duran. And I'd love to pan to each of you and get a little quick something of what you do to help Duran while they're in these dire straits. Let's pan over first to Gentle.
I have a move called the Hand of Ultimate Mercy. Yes, it is my capstone move, and I'm going to give 5 key points, and it's just going to give a solid amount of just raw life essence to help keep Duran going.
As you kneel next to Duran, where do you rest this hand?
I think, is one of your hands just available, Duran?
Yeah.
Just take your hand and just like put life essence in from the hand. Very just homies, like how you help the buddies.
Homies helping homies. Your hand goes over Duran, and Duran, you feel that pain that's been racking your body that's kind of, Silali's taking the edge off. You feel it dull even more as this life energy is pumped through you, and we see the last remnants of those veins eking out from the center of Duran's chest begin to recede as well. But their eyes are still that inky black. They're still bleeding those black void mother's blood tears. There's still that eye on the back of their neck. We pan over to Dewey. How are you helping?
Dewey's hands instinctively go to his hip for the god jar just in case things go wrong, but it's not there, and so he's desperately looking. He finds some like trinket in his backpack to start doing these like magic rituals on to turn it into a crude version of what the god jar could do. And seeing that Doctors Palpone and Sato are just kind of, I assume, standing there like dumbfounded and in shock, he like shakes them by the shoulders and is like, "Help me, goddammit, help me do this."
Well, Dr. Palpone goes, what, I'll help you. What do you, okay. And the two scientists sort of like get to their knees and look at Duran. They look at each other, and Dr. Sato goes, I'm not a surgeon, but we can try. And they start like pulling out tools from like their various toolboxes and like diagnosing Duran. And you see one of them pull out this like what looks to be a stethoscope, but they like put it up to their eye, and like the tube part goes over to like the hole in Duran's chest. And they're like blinking through like the flat coin of the stethoscope, and they go, okay, well, this is bad. Diagnosis is this is very, very, very bad. in order to get this thing out of this person, it's gonna take nothing short of divine intervention.
I'm not the one to do that, though.
Dad, you literally have a god inside your soul.
Fine. And Dewey grabs whichever one of the doctors is leaning over Jerron and like shoves him out of the way. And he takes the stethoscope into his and puts it on himself, listening for what he can tell from Jerron's vitals and also for Galtanger within his soul.
Yeah, okay. You feel Galtanger sort of rise up and roil within your chest, and just sort of unbidden, just this wave of, I think, radiant energy from your feathers that, like, ripples into the flat of the glass, travels down the tube, and shoots into Jerron, and burns away the rest of the black. So we see, like, Jerron's eyes, like, get seared away by this radiant magic, and we see, for the first time, Jerron's regular kind of blackberry purple eyes, as you're hunched over them. And now we pan over to Vasanti.
Vasanti runs over and I think with her sort of red clawed hand, she reaches over and sort of puts her hand like sort of not on the cheek, but like more like right here under the jaw a little bit. And I think Vasanti like sort of like goes inward a little bit and is asking for Scott and Nectus.
Oh yeah, what are you trying to ask Scott and Nectus to do specifically?
V is like, Scott, Nectus, there was once a time in my life where you literally ripped out my heart and said I was not your Paragon. You owe me one. Please, help me help Jerron stay alive right now.
And you sort of feel like strings warping against your soul, right? Like a net of coins and love and the sharpness of a blade and the softness of a feather of a lover's touch wrap itself around the glowing center of who you are, and you hear a pair of familiar voices resonate inside your skull.
Holy One! Holy One! You know, well, I suppose, in a manner of speaking, perhaps you could argue that we do. Scott, please, Jerron needs our help, and Vasanti has a point. Vasanti, we could stabilize them for now. They are literally on the verge of being claimed by the empty, but we could perhaps use a little bit of our magic to anchor them here. But there will be a little bit of a consequence. You see, this will be our magic, and you being the Paragon and the vessel we reside in, you will have to be, in a sense, responsible, or at the very least, how do we say, connected to Jerron in a deeper way than you have been before if we do this, Vasanti. Are you prepared for that?
Yes, whatever it takes. I'm here. I'm here to help him. Just do what we have to do here.
Then let's do this.
And you feel these, like, this red and this purple lilac energy, I think, spiral out of you as one of your hands starts to glow red and the other starts to kind of glow purple with these, like, bands of magic swirling around them, and unbidden, kind of, your arms just sort of surge forward and they clasp, or rather cup, Jerron on either side of their face. And Jerron, this gasp of just pure energy of specifically love, this kind of like friendship love knitting itself from Vasanti into you. It is both Vasanti's care for you as well as Scott and Nectus's, as well as the care and the energy from every single person who's helped you up until this point. Scott and Nectus seem to be pulling on this to empower their own magic. And the last, I think, of the veins completely vanish from your skin. The last of the black vanishes from your eyes. And we see the hole in your chest doesn't shrink, but a glimmer of purple and red magic starts to cover it, almost like sliding a lid over a swirling jar of void. You can still see the void inside, but it's becoming trapped, contained. That pain in your body has been cupped and set aside a little bit, but it's still there. And we finally pan up to a Biku, I think, for like the finishing touch on this.
Biku lands, hops off Sun, runs over. You see a Biku. I reach to my back and you see the tattoo, like a bird wing, come out of the tattoo, and I take a raven feather off, and I want to drop a raven feather into the void and cast protection from evil and good. I want to bullshit it a little bit because it has like a time limit usually, but I want it to be like a token or a talisman to like help keep it. If the best we can do is like, we'll just put a band-aid on that. The world's ending right now. I want to make it a really strong band-aid.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you for either a religion or a arcana check.
Got a +1 to either. Cross your fingers, besties. There's my second nat 20 for 21.
Okay! As your tattoo extends outward, you pluck a feather forward and you drop it in. Rev ribbons into existence next to you, right, as the feather goes down, and she throws out a hand, and you see that feather emboldened with her magic as well, with that nat 20 swirling around it. It floats past that pane of red and purple glass, essentially, that had knitted over the void from Scott and Nectis. It floats through it, it's allowed to pass, and then it vanishes into the void. And Jaron, that's when you take your first full breath. And on that, we're going to cut to break. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in so far to Arc 8, Episode 1 of The Second Stranger. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Enjoy the music. This has been so much fun so far. Bijou.
Howdy, Transplaners! It's me, C, also known as everyone's favorite gay soft-blood hunter, Oka Hyen. I am here to talk to you about something that I love and care about very deeply, courtesy of Bears Games, a friend of the stream. TTRPG artists have had a really hard year between NFTs and AI art dominating the freelance illustration space. Yikes. It's important now more than ever to shout out the incredible artists who are working hard to bring our AP characters, scenes, and NPCs to life. So today I have the absolute pleasure of shouting out the incredible artist behind our Arc 8 character portraits, Lynn. Lynn is an incredible artist, as you're all aware, and has done all of the amazing character art that you see on the overlay right now and in our promotional materials for Arc 8. Lynn, you did such an amazing job bringing all of our characters to life. It was an absolute dream to work with you, and I highly recommend hiring Lynn for all of your future projects, AP or home game or anything. She is just a dream to work with, and is also an amazing TTRPG performer that I've had the pleasure of actually getting to share a table with. So what I need you to do right now is open up your phone, go to the Bird app, and follow Lynn across the internet at Gremlin Art. That's GREMLYNNART. And while you're there, I would also really, really love it if you dropped a follow to 2 other incredible freelancers who are working primarily in TTRPG art right now, specifically Jay at Nala Draws and Amihan at Rose Cleric Art, and keep up with their works and performances as well. If you don't have the funds to commission an original piece from any of these 3 awesome artists, that's totally okay. A follow, a like, and a retweet go a long way in fighting the algorithm and supporting these awesome individuals. So go drop all 3 of those amazing folks a follow, find a recent piece of art that you like a lot that was made by them, retweet it, say something nice in the comments, and then that's all you have to do. That's all your homework, okay? That's it. That's all we got going on. That's all from me. I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Thank you so much again to Bears Games, a friend of the stream, for supporting content creators across the TTRPG sphere. Shbijo bijo, y'all. Get ready for part 2. Bye!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Arc 8, Episode 1 of Transplanar RPGs, The Second Stranger. Let's get right back into it. Here are content warnings for this episode and the campaign in general. They may include fantasy violence, apocalypse, trauma and grief, depictions of war, body horror, gore, blood and bloodletting, death of loved ones, familial struggles, complex and complicated relationships, romance and references to sexual entanglements, monsters and monstrosity, and eldritch abominations. So use !CW in chat to look at our content warnings at any time, and !safety to get a look at the cast's lines and veils to know what territory we'll never get into no matter how dark things get. So with that out of the way, let's hop right back into the session. Duran. Your vision swims in and out, in and out. Above you, you think, you see a pulsing red sky. Eyes spackle the horizon, irises roving, pupils shrinking and expanding. You are half conscious, half dead, half comatose, half alive. You feel your body being picked up off the ground, and there's a sensation of vertigo. And then strong arms, soft and warm and scarred, hoist you up underneath your shoulders, underneath your knees. You glimpse a scarred chin, a bisected lip. You also see black hair twisted in a long whip-like braid. And all around you, there's muffled movement, muffled sound, shouting, explosions, you think, blood, gunpowder. Camp Vanguard is moving. Your vision, I think, eventually blurs. Your eyes close. And when they open again, you are somewhere quiet, somewhere private. A tent, with soft rugs everywhere of hide, bedrolls, pillows, dangling strings of herbs. You're set down onto a soft surface. And then, we pull out from your perspective, Duran, to find Oka, Sitlali, and Gentle in a medical tent in Camp Vanguard, surrounded by the bitter stench of camphor, poultices, herbal remedies. Duran lies prone on a bedroll. There's a beat, I think, as Duran settles down, as Oka gently lowers them. And then the tent flap whirls, there's like a flurry of movement, and in bustles Mercy, who immediately sees Sitlali and just goes across the tent in like 3 long strides to where you are, and is just going, Sitlali, glad I found you so quickly again. How is he?
I don't think Sitlali says anything, and I think she just buries themselves in Mercy's chest.
Oh, hey, you're okay. You're okay, I'm here, all right? You're fine, I'm here to take care of you.
And I think they just start crying.
Whoa, okay. And Mercy starts stroking your back, very tenderly. She holds you tight, like her arms go around you like a weighted blanket. Like she's holding you really tight, trying to calm you down through this like physicality. And she's just sort of like muttering, lowly, whispering in your ear, but it's a small tent so everyone can hear. Hey, it's fine, Sitlali, I got you, okay? You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine, I'm here, all right? I'm here
Oka's here, Gentle's here, even that fucker's here. Listen, and we're all here to take care of you, okay? Just trust that I'm always gonna be here to take care of you.
Oka is still knelt over Jiran a little bit, their braid kind of falling over their shoulder onto his chest. And I think if it's okay with you, Dare, they're like taking whatever Gentle is handing them. Like I assume that you are around this chamber taking the herbal remedies and stuff, and they're trying to help you the best they can.
Yep. I think I'm just making a bunch of salves for Jiran, and then just some things to help reduce stress for everyone else, because this has been a lot.
And I think Jiran is just lying there on the bedroll, probably like trying to sit up a little bit, but every time he tries to sit up, he doesn't have the energy to like keep himself up and just kind of like falls back down. And they are just lying there, like, again, only I think half here, because everything that just happened, the pain that they were feeling is suddenly dulled, but it's like going from like 100 to like 0 really quickly, and they are, I think, still jarred a little bit and like kind of trying to like get their bearings in this moment as well.
And they just under their breath, Oka is like, do you really want me to make Sitlali come over here and make you stay down? Just lay down, Tron, please lay down.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, you're right.
And
don't call Sitlali, please.
Sitlali, come over here, please.
I said...
And they disentangle themselves from Mercy semi-reluctantly, but do like come over. And I think that's the first time that like she gets eyes on you, Oka, and like moves with greater urgency, registering that it is you.
And there is this kind of dull, the empty place past shock that is present in Oka's face, where their eyes are terrified, but the rest of their face is kind of blank. But I think you can even see like their heartbeat pulsing on the side of their neck really, really, really fast. And I think as you come towards them, their like hand comes up, and with surprising strength, they pull you down and into them in a vice grip like hug.
And I think Sitlali fucking melts against you.
And Oka like flops down against you as well, and like down onto the ground next to Jiran also. Like just all of us down into the bed, I think.
I think at this, Gentle very casually walks over with a couple of cups of tea and just, like I mentioned, the aforementioned candies and stuff. It's like, first off, it's nice to see everyone. It's been a minute. Sorry it's like this, but I made some things to maybe help us.
Gentle, please come here.
Okay.
And their hand kind of passes over those long line tattoos, and like from those threads pulls you in as well.
I think Jiran's hand immediately goes to where Gentle is and kind of like rests on it. I don't think he has the strength at the moment to necessarily like pull Gentle in, but they're just kind of like resting their hand over on Gentle's own. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you a ton. I'm gonna say it was weird doing any like work without you around.
Yeah, it was really only like what, like a day? But
I don't know how time worked down there, I'll be honest.
Mercy, how long were we gone?
Mercy snaps her gaze from Sitlali. She has not taken her eye off of Sitlali this entire time, but finally wrenches it off of them to look at you, Oka. 8 days. You all were gone for 8 days.
When you say all, does that include, and Jiran looks over at Sitlali, does that include us?
Yeah. I don't know what happened in the URL, where you went or whatever, but it was a week, okay? And that week was hell. We couldn't reach you. We couldn't reach any of you. I couldn't contact you, Sitlali, or Oka, or Gentle, or any of you who went into the chasm, or to the islands to the south. All we could do was sit there at the homestead and just watch as the sky turned blood. It was horrible, and I never felt so alone. We had Squeak. and Squeak and I bonded, but it wasn't the same.
Mercy, come here, please.
Well, you know, if you're gonna slap me for being a wuss, I'd rather you just come over here and get it over with.
Well, come here and get your slap for being a wuss.
And Mercy trods over.
And Oka punches her in the knee gently to just kind of like knock her down.
Ugh!
And then pulls her in into like the ground with them, kind of squashed Sitlali on either side, I think.
Oh, gods. You know, if anyone that's not us sees this, I would punch them until they forgot. But this is, kind of nice.
Yeah.
I've missed you too, Mercy.
Ugh. Shut up. Listen, we're not gonna hire you back, no matter what, alright? But there might be an independent contractor role opening up, with cut wages and no benefits, of course.
You act like the hounds have benefits to begin with.
Yeah, the benefit is calling yourself a hound. Obviously, as a third-party contractor, you would... Never mind.
Mercy, that actually does remind me. Back in Morose, I did find an old pamphlet for the hounds that you happen to have, and the benefits you offered here are a lot more significant than you currently offer, and I'm kind of curious about that.
Are you holding out the pamphlet?
Yep.
What the? She snatches it and stares at like this like really nicely like kind of put together hand-drawn pamphlet of like Hounds of Mercy, this guild group, and she just goes, I don't remember putting this together. Something about the handwriting is kind of familiar though, but I have no memory of writing this at all.
Are the benefits at least comparable to what was originally on this one, or?
You know what? If and when we survive this goddamn apocalypse, fine. You all have my word, you hear it now, that new benefits for full-time hound mercenary monster hunters are gonna be exactly as written in this pamphlet. Alright? And that means none of you can fucking die, okay? Because you want dental.
It's a better reason than any not to die.
Exactly. So don't really any of you think of dying on me, okay?
Really took the whole apocalypse, Mercy, to get you to finally give us benefits?
I do remember in some shitty hole-in-the-wall bar you and I went to 4 years ago, I did say something along the lines of, only when the hells freeze over am I ever gonna re-up these benefits, and you know what? Seems like the hells are freezing over, so my word is my bond.
You have no idea. And Oka's gaze goes a little bit sideways, remembering literal hell that we literally went through, not 6 hours ago, in their mind. And they kind of just like bury their head back against Sitlali's hair and tuck themselves closer to everyone.
I think Sitlali went really still at the mention of it being 8 days. And I think in a very small voice, how many days was I a fucking precept?
I think that means 7.
What? What did you just say?
When did I kill Adam?
You killed. And Mercy's eyes, I think, trail down your body to that skull hanging around your neck. And there's like a sharp intake of breath. You fucking did it. Good. Right? Why doesn't it seem like it's good?
Mercy, he's not from here. He wasn't supposed to be involved in any of this. He was too far gone, but he was a... And I think Sitlali just starts crying again.
Oh, hey, it's okay. We can talk about it when you're ready, all right? But listen, it's that part of everything that's happened to you is hopefully over-ish now. But either way, I'm here for you. Okay, Sitlali? Like I said earlier, we're all here for you. You can count on me, you can count on us. Right, hounds?
Of course.
Always.
Forever. We're monster hunters. It's a heavy burden to carry. And sometimes they are too far gone. But that's the choice that we make. And that's the choice we carry.
And I think 6 foot something Sitlali makes themselves a little bit smaller so that they can fit better and be the little spoon for Oka.
And I think they, almost like it's a habit that they forgot that they had, they start braiding a little bit of your hair, just like down the side where it's shaved.
And I think on that, with all of you holding each other, hugging each other, collapsed onto this floor in a pile, even Jiran involved, mercy there, Sitlali, gentle Oka, we're gonna fade down on this scene to find Abiku Ishtar. Abiku, what are you doing in Camp Vanguard?
Abiku is nervously pacing back and forth in front of a tent. I think with Sun outside of the tent, you gotta go in there.
Yeah, Sun is squatted next to the biggest tent, I think, in Camp Vanguard. There's like a stable next to it and like tons of horses in there. There's clearly like sound of like movement and talking in like the strong, curt tones of Kyrian from within. And you're pacing back and forth and your companion lets out a big sigh, cocks their head to the side, and you hear their voice in your head go, Abiku, waiting it out isn't gonna make it any easier. You should just go in and talk to her.
It's just been so long. It was a whole. I did a lot in a year. What if I'm not the Abiku she remembers?
The two of you are soulmates, okay? Now, I've never had a soulmate of my own, but I hope I will one day, hopefully. I mean, after we win all this. But what I do know, based on what I remember seeing of the two of you, it doesn't matter how much time passes. It doesn't matter how much space separates you. You love each other. That's what counts.
Yes. Thank you. I will just go inside the tent now. I will open the flap and go inside.
Sun goes, oh, are you sure? Oh, okay. And Abiku, you open up the flap and you enter Toktoa Kagon's tent, where Shringi is sort of standing behind a war table, her like hands clasped, I think like behind her back, and she's, over the course of this day, has been administered a lot of medicine from the best healers in Endake, and has like, sort of like regained some composure, and she's in the middle of, I think, like reporting to Toktoa, and you see a couple of other Alliance members behind this war table. You recognize Elder Pohaku, as well as Root Sweetbreeze from the court behind the table, and they're sort of like conferring in low tones. And Shrini is in the middle of saying, and that's what I've been up to for the past year. And Toktoa's hands are splayed on either side of the war table, right? Like her shoulders kind of tense, and she's looking at Shrini kind of incredulously, like, trapped at the bottom of a chasm embedded in a wall made of your own flesh? You know what? We've heard weirder, so thanks for the update, and Ishtar?
Kagan? I was wondering if I could have the room?
And this room is full of like generals and like high-ranking Kyrian cavalry and like the literal Alliance members. They're all like looking at each other like, what the hell? And Shrini goes, Kagan, we can talk outside. You don't have to worry about us, Abiku.
Oh, okay. I just thought inside could be more pleasant, but outside's like a whole world-ending thing,
It is, but as close to the stars as we can get. You know what I mean?
Okay. Never mind, everybody, as you were.
Uh-huh. Toktoa watches as Shrini, like, very, like, politely, I think, salutes in, like, the traditional ancient Ba way, you know? Like, a kind of, like, a click of the heels, a salute, and, like, a gesture of the elbow that seems very dated. And Toktoa cocks her head to the side, and Shrini nods and turns and starts to stride out and smiles, like, briefly at you on her way out. But before you turn and follow her, Toktoa goes, Abiku!
Yes?
Glad you're alive.
You too. That was very useful with the sunshot thing that you did. And I also think if it had eaten you, it would be very bad for the entire world.
Yeah, glad to see you haven't changed one bit since going into that chasm.
No, well, I have to go talk to my wife.
Yeah,
I will find you
go
later.
Speak to your now not dead wife. She sort of lingers on that word as you exit the Kagon's tent. And on the outside, you see Shrini is maybe a couple paces away. She's actually stroking the neck of a horse in a stable nearby and just sort of looking at it wonderingly. And as you approach her, without turning around, she just goes, 1 year. Trapped down there for 1 year, which was really, what, 10,000 years?
Yes, I suppose so. If I knew you were done, I would have gone there as soon as you woke up.
And she turns, and even though there's the horse there's like the bustling war camp all around, for a minute it just feels like it's just the two of you. And as she turns and looks at you, this is the face of someone who is both a stranger to you and someone you have known your entire life. Someone you've only known a few moments and someone you've known for 10,000 years. And Shrini looks at you and says, I've missed you, Abiku. So much of my consciousness, my memories, my thoughts, they feel fractured. But they're coming back to me now. And I'm starting to remember what it was like before I woke up. Do you remember any of that? And she moves away from the horse and approaches you, like almost tentatively, right? Like she's also, and you see nervousness in her expression too. Like she also doesn't know how to reunion with you. We were beyond all of this. When we were dead, yes, but still together. Do you remember any of that?
Oh, I remember before that, but I don't remember that part. The queen said it would come to me slowly?
Queen. The Raven Queen. I like your new tattoos.
Thank you. I do too. I did not know I would get them, but I am fond of them.
I'm fond of them too. They look good on you. And she raises an arm and trails fingers over your shoulders.
I have some maybe good news.
Yes.
Our war is finally done.
Yeah. It seems like we were plucked from one war and then dropped into another, doesn't it?
Well, we almost stopped one until a egotistical bastard, killed us, but maybe we're here to help stop this one. I don't think we can just, hug it out about it, though.
No, definitely not. I mean, we tried. I remember us trying, and it almost worked. Maybe this time it will.
It is a friend of ours. Well, I think you would like them if, besides, but it's not his fault. It's hard to explain, but we have a friend in there and we'll try to save them.
Now this feels familiar. You, me, up against the entire end of the world with nothing but this. And she holds out her arms and takes your hands in hers.
There's something I want to tell you.
Anything?
Well, a few things, but when I woke up, I didn't remember a lot. But I remembered something you told me. And that was, as long as we're united, we've already won. And here with you, I've gotten what I've wanted. I've won. No matter what happens.
Piku. And without saying another word, she moves in, closes the distance between the two of you, and kisses you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as the two of you hold each other, and this feels so right, Abiku. There's no other way to put it. If destiny, even if destiny weren't coming, this is what it feels like. This feels like fate. This feels like the two of you were meant to be. And as your lips are locked, there's like a moment of just peace and everything else falls away. It's just the two of you. And then, Abiku, you hear a flitter of wings and a voice go, hey, big lady! Hey, you!
Oh,
Hey!
I pull back. Wait, what? Why are you? Hold on. Abiku I saw in my head we were sitting because Abiku sits, and she stands up. Didn't they leave you in charge of a place? Is the place gone? What are you doing here now? Do you have like a message or something this time again? Do you have more clothes?
And you see on, like, perched on the horse's back that Shrini was stroking just a few moments ago, there are two ravens, Blackbeak and Silvereye. They look exactly the same. You're not sure which is which. You maybe sometimes think that they're not sure which is which either. And one of them goes,
Yeah. We might have a message or two for you, a big lady. Mostly the message is, we felt something through the weave, you see. Through the weave in Dabathati. It was a mystical compulsion, some sort of magical force bringing us over. You're taking too much time, Silvereye. We hear you're, a new friend of the Raven Queen? So I guess we're, part of the package, too.
So you work for me now?
Well, I wouldn't say work for. I'd say we're equal business partners here. Yeah, equal business partners. We all have the same share of grain, a coin of all the shiny things out there.
Lovely. Would you be able to go find my wife some lavender flowers, please? I think we might need them.
Absolutely. Your word is our shared command that we all agreed to do. Come on, Blackbeak.
and these two ravens take off from the back of this horse.
I look back at Shuni. Well, that is new. There's a lot to catch you up on, but the most important thing, and Abiku sits back down again and like takes her hands. I should tell you about me and Taktoa. So the last time, well, not when I was here, but when I was at a camp of Taktoa, we sort of did it like a lot. I don't have to brief now, and I give her eyebrows. But so, and I mean, it was Taktoa broke. We weren't dating, but it felt like she was breaking up with me, even though we were not dating or anything. And then I was more upset than I thought I would be, and it's been sort of weird since. And so I wanted to talk with you about all of that because I don't know where I am at with that, and we didn't talk about it 10,000 years ago because it never came up, and here we are.
Wow, okay, yeah, that is a lot. But Abiku, no matter what, I'll always love you, and I'm always on your side. It's us, not you and me, it's us, okay? So, whatever happens, we're always gonna be okay. And she, like, continues to hold out her arms as she, like, squeezes your hands in hers. Mm-hmm. And that's when the tent flap behind you two opens again, and Taktoa actually strides out, looking across Camp Vanguard. Her eyes pause on you, gives a curt nod, but then she continues scanning until her gaze falls upon a certain Dewey quirk in a different part of the camp. So, Dewey, why don't you tell me what you're up to in Camp Vanguard?
Dewey is sitting in a field a little bit away from the camp. He has sent Taktoa a handwritten message, slid like a piece of paper underneath her tent flap, saying, "Hey, can you meet me over here?" And he's sitting on a rock, the same direction and distance away from the camp as when he met fake Taktoa, a myriad Taktoa, at the other camp so long ago. And he's kind of just staring off into the distance with his back to the camp as Taktoa approaches.
Yeah, so I think Taktoa sees you from across the camp. strides past where Abiku and Shrini are sitting after casting them another like curt nod, just right on past, right as Shrini's like, and she makes her way through Vanguard until she like moves past the immediate periphery of the camp under like the glowing crimson light of these various shattered eyes across the sky. And you hear her approach, Dewey. She's like not trying to disguise her footprints or anything like that. Cardu.
Hey, Paragon. You wanna sit? And he like pats the rock next to him.
You know what? Yeah, okay. Why not? Yeah, I'll sit next to you on this rock as equals. And she approaches and sits down right next to where you are. And I think there's like a pause. And then she just goes, Cardu, on the topic of equals, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. Maybe you already have a suspicion you know the topic.
I also have thoughts, but no, you go ahead. You go first.
For the past few weeks, I've been wielding Sunshot, and with every arrow I let fly, I am reminded of what our god said to me. And I know the way we left things off the last time you were here in Kirtal, I had mustered an apology for how I'd been treating you, but apologies aside, I want to make sure we're on the same page. You know, you are Paragon of Galtanger, I am Keeper. I think we should share an equitable balance of respect, responsibility, duty.
Yeah, good. I'm glad we're... I wanted to also apologize for undermining your authority back when that happened.
Oh, you didn't do that. Don't worry about that.
Oh. Cool if you say so. And Dewey has a piece of paper he's written down the apology he was gonna read to her, and he shoves it into his pocket.
But I'll still take your words, and she holds out a hand for the apology note regardless.
You sure you don't want me to just read them to you and then not give you this piece of paper that I wrote down on?
You know what? Since you've clearly prepared something, okay, I will receive it and listen equally to you as you have listened equally to me.
Oh, okay. It wasn't like a whole speech. It was just, sorry, undermining your authority, even though you're kind of a dick. It didn't really matter who was Paragon and who was Keeper. We're all in this together, etc. That was the gist of it.
Yeah, those talking points are quite salient. Thank you for that apology. Cool. Toktoa hops off the rock, straightens up.
Wait. That's not all I asked you out to sit here with me for. I don't know. I just wanted to check in since we're the Keeper, Paragon. I guess. Did you find what you were looking for in the past couple months?
Well, I made the pilgrimage, like Galtanger asked. I was able to obtain Sunshot under the conditions she had stipulated. Able to rally a army the likes of which had never been seen since the 1,000-Year War, was able to draw alliance-based contracts with every single other world leader. We've been training our troops, arming them, preparing them, so yeah, I think we've found what we've been looking for. What matters now is the final stand.
If I've learned anything, it's, all the war efforts and your tactical prowess are great. But being Paragon, being Keeper is more than, I don't know, I've had to get more in touch with my feelings in this whole process. Just wondering, I guess I don't have to know about those feelings, but just wondering if you maybe also had a similar thing.
There's a pregnant pause, and Toktoa's crosses her arms over the front of her chest. So, she talks to you too?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right. And you also sometimes get like a nagging, no, not nagging isn't the right, well, just a pressing sense, you know, that she wants you to go in a particular direction, or she wants you to say certain words to certain people when they pass, or she urges you, you know, there's this sense of, I don't know, it's like, my connection with Galtanger isn't the same as yours. I don't literally have her in my soul, but a part of her presence does swirl within me, and it urges me to be free, I suppose, from my own problems. And that has been difficult to think about, to address. I haven't exactly been very forthright about confronting them. I'm in a messy situation right now, Cardew. Personally speaking, there are some personal things happening that are confusing and difficult. And I haven't burdened any of my lieutenants or generals with knowledge of this, if you must know, but these problems may or may not involve matters of the heart.
Sorry, not sure if we're on the same page here. Who's this them?
Toktoa leans in and says, we're not that close, Cardew. Not yet. We're not, okay, you know what? Just, fuck it. Can you let Abiku Ishtar know that it's not weird if she doesn't make it weird, okay?
Make what weird? You know what? I shouldn't have asked. I'll let her know things aren't weird.
I appreciate that. And if you could also pass along in the message that I regret the way we left things off. I hope we're able to have some sort of reconciliation before all of this resolves, for better or for worse. I wish her well, health and fortune and favor with her new, current wife. And she knows where to find me if she should ever come looking. And she left one of her hair things in I've been meaning to, but she can come and pick it up.
I can't write that fast. Are you sure you don't want to?
You're smart. You can remember it. Okay,
you don't want to just tell her in person?
I have a war to win. I can hear my generals calling me. So it's like completely silent out here. I will breathe a word of this outside of Biku Ishtar, Cardew Quirk, and I will be upset. I'm not going to threaten you. That is not very equitable, but I'll be angry.
Cool. I guess if we're making requests to each other, now that we're growing closer, are we? Anyways, if we're making requests, if I don't have my god weapon anymore, temporarily, if I die out there, you'll help Geltanger take care of, like, the people I love too, right? The same way I'll do this thing for you and Abiku.
Of course I will, Dewey. And listen, you're not going to die, okay?
Well, I'm trying not to.
You have a knack for surviving even the most incredible of circumstances. I'm sure you will survive this one too.
I'll do my best. Thanks. That was it.
Yep, okay, right, cool, good talk. Good talk.
Yep.
Yep. The two of you, like, straighten, she, like, turns and goes off back into the direction of Camp Vanguard. And as we follow Toktoa Kaga now, as she makes her way through Camp Vanguard, past stables, past stalls, past gurs and yurts and shanties and shacks and tents, and past even, I think, a particular stable where we see Shadow sort of eating some hay, and nearby we find Vasanti. Vasanti, what are you doing in Camp Vanguard?
I think Vasanti just came back from a little ride around the area, and is now just like getting Shadow tucked in, put away, fed, groomed a little bit, just, bathing this horse in all of her love and affection. And as she's finishing up, she sort of probably looks over the rest of the camp and perhaps sees Jiran somewhere nearby.
Yeah, maybe. I think at this point, Jiran, you are mostly restored. Especially after getting your spirits lifted by the rest of the hounds. And if you so wish, you can have ambulated about Camp Vanguard as well. So where do we find you?
I think Jiran is probably going around the camp trying to, I think, essentially like take stock of what everybody's different roles are in the camp, because I don't think that they've sort of acclimated themselves to all of the ways in which everything's organized, because most of the time they'd been in the tent resting, right? Whereas everybody else had been like off helping, doing their thing. I think Jiran is kind of like lagging behind a little bit. So they're just going around like asking people like questions and trying to gather as much information as he can so that he can like very seamlessly like slot himself into wherever people need help and wherever they sort of fit.
Vasanti sees that and starts to make her way towards Jiran, maybe even like waves at Bafa, who's probably like trying to close up the stable. And Vasanti calls out to Jiran, "Hey, Jiran, you're, how are you?
And I think Jiran was like mid-conversation with somebody at this point, maybe with like Squeak, who has been sort of taking charge of everything. And they just kind of like look away from Squeak and look at Vasanti and they say, "Oh, Squeak, can you give me just like a few minutes and I'll be right back. I have a lot more questions to ask."
Ah, yes, because my time is inherently less valuable than yours. Go ahead, go ahead.
I didn't say that.
Oh, go have your conversation.
And Squeak just like meanders off.
Well, that's not... I'm gonna have to pay for that later. Hi, Vasanti. I'm doing okay, better now. Thank you, by the way, if I haven't already said that, for helping.
Well, it was my pleasure. I know you would do the same for me as well as everybody else that was there. It was, we're just taking care of a friend.
Let's hope that we don't have to.
Yeah? Well, I think we should be taking care of each other as much as we can in these next days, weeks, months, however long it takes.
And I think Jiran kind of like sighs, and there is a very, very tired look on their face, because even though the void has been sort of like sealed up, and there's this very strong band-aid, magical band-aid that everybody has put on it, I think that it's still sort of like sucks a lot of energy out of Jiran just simply like existing. It doesn't quite hurt the same way that it used to, but it's tiring, it's exhausting. And I think you can like see that on his face.
You look like you're still recovering just a little bit.
That's a bit of an understatement, I would say.
Well, can you feel it? When I had Scott and Nectus help, they told me that we were going to be connected to each other now.
Yeah, it's warm. It's different than anything else. I mean, I've been tethered to other people, been tethered to Oka before, but this feels different. Feels light, almost.
So weird. It's like I could kind of just get this strange sensation that like I could feel you a little bit moving around the camp a little bit. It was, I guess I haven't felt that kind of tether before that much in my life. I've tried to avoid that kind of tether for most of my 111 years, so.
And just your luck, your first time is with me.
Just my luck indeed. Risk and reward.
What does it mean, anyway, for us to be connected like this? I don't think I quite understand.
Well, I guess I don't. Scott and Nectus don't exactly give you an instruction manual on what it means to be tethered to another human being because you saved their life using their powers.
Would be helpful if they did, but...
That's the gods for you. They like to not tell you all the details ahead of time. But I'm sure we'll figure it out together.
Speaking of the gods not giving you all of the details, I'm sure you know that Scott and Nectus offered me keepership back at the URL.
They did ask for me to help try to convince you to accept the position? I guess.
I've been thinking about it since we've been here and since everything has been going on. But I don't know what it means to be a keeper. I mean, I see Sitlali and Gentle and, everyone else, Takatoa, as keepers, but I don't quite understand what it means.
Well, I can only speak as a Paragon and as a Paragon who doesn't have a keeper yet. You said something to me once about how, the gods were forcing us to do their bidding, that they weren't giving us a choice, but I want you to know that there's always been a choice between me and Scott and Nectus. All they've ever wanted for me, from nearly the beginning once they entered into me, was for me to follow my heart.
And where has your heart taken you then?
Many adventures of helping all of our friends here, helping Dewey realize his Paragon-ness, helping him with Hana at the URL. It's led me to finding my father and finishing things with Sievert, and it's led me to you.
And I think Jiran kind of takes a moment to take that in, and recognizing that Scott and Nectus gave him a choice as well last time. They didn't push the last time that they spoke. They gave them a choice to do things his own way. And I think hearing that all that they've ever asked Vasanti to do is follow her heart as well, it feels right, I think. And Jiran just kind of nods. Can I be honest with you, Vasanti?
That's all I've asked of you since we officially met.
I'm scared. I'm scared that accepting keepership kind of makes all of this real, doesn't it?
Yes. I felt the same way when I accepted that I was to be a Paragon. It makes it real. And it's scary. But in the end, what I've learned, you're not doing it alone. You have all of us. You got the Keepers and the Paragons. Anything you don't know, we'll figure it out together. You don't have to do it alone.
And Jiran, I think we'll hold out their hand and grab Vasanti's if it's okay with you, Erica.
Yep.
And they will squeeze gently at Vasanti's hand. I think that connection between the two of us kind of washes over the two of them as we make contact. And it's almost as if there is the presence of Scott and Nectus too, between us right now in this moment as we stand here holding each other.
And I think on that, we sort of fade down on this scene of Paragon and potential keeper, Jiran Kader, sort of joined at the hand, entering, I think, a new phase of their understanding of each other as people. And as we fade down, we fade back up, I think, over the next day? Question mark. It is so hard to tell the difference between night and day when the entire sky is crimson blood all the time. But we do follow a new person cutting through camp, a courier, stopping by tent to gur to tent to gur with several scrolls in their arms. They stop by the Hound's tent and they pull it open and they push a scroll in through, nodding intently and saying, Alliance meeting later today, all invited to attend, very important business. And then they immediately close the tent flap and continue hustling through Camp Vanguard, delivering this message of an Alliance meeting that is to come in preparation of war. Everything else goes black. We hold on that for another minute. Then we hear a voice. Sulking. I don't know if that is a good look on you, Sagu. You don't get to tell me what is and isn't a good look on me, Oblivion. Just let me out of here, okay? You don't have to do this. How many times do we have to be over this? You don't have to. Shh. Now, Sagu. There's work to be done. You should be grateful I'm deciding to spare you for now. After all, you're right. Flies are drawn to honey more than vinegar. And we're gonna end the session there. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in to Arc 8 Episode 1 of The Second Stranger. I've been your GM and executive producer, Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me all across the internet at ByConnieChang, ByConniechang. I'm gonna pass along introductions up and over to our very own Austin.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, Austin. I was ready this time. My pronouns are he, they, she. You can find me over on Twitter at Austin, at Sailor, SAT Austin. I just played a BQ Ishtar. I got to kiss my wife. Hooray! I'm a game designer, performer, blah, 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 blah. Find me on Twitter, like I said earlier. Val, it's your turn.
Hi, it is my turn. Hello, everybody. I'm Valiant Dorian. I use he, him, his pronouns, and this evening I had the distinct pleasure of playing Voska, the Paragon abuser, who uses she, they pronouns. You can find me all around the internet at Valiant Dorian or at Otso Spirit Bear. Please enjoy that lovely treasure hunt I just sent you out on. And I'm going to pass introductions over to, oh goodness, I have forgotten already. Dare, yes.
It was me. I was ready, but you weren't. Haha.
I was.
Hi, I'm Dare. Pronouns she, they, they. This is fun. I'm scared of everything that's going to happen now. If you liked my voice or like any of the weird things I do on the internet, you can catch me over on Dare to Dream RPG on all parts. That is DARE, the number 2 DREAM RPG. I write, edit, make music. I'm on Tumblr. I do a lot. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's whatever. But I'm going to throw it over to Erica.
Hi everybody, I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. I played Vasanti Nakshurzo, also she, her pronouns. And if you want to see me roleplay as a gay cowgirl medic in a fictional Old West, not like the colonized version, come check me out at Twitch at Erica Please, that's Erica PLZ. And I'm going to pass it on to Quinn.
Hey y'all, I'm Quinn, pronouns they, them, and I have been your resident Sitlali today. I am an Annie and Diana Jones Award-nominated TTRPG designer, sensitivity reader, actual play performer, editor, doer of things that you need done probably. Buy my games, hire me, and you can keep up with my projects over on Twitter at Quintastic_. My site and my rates are all over in that general area of the internet. And I'm gonna pass things over to Max.
Hey, it's me, Max. My pronouns are they, them. I have played Dewey, actual wingman Quirk. You can find me on the internet at Starchmonger. That's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, where you can find me with my silly selfies, my fashion stuff, dance. I will boldly say that there will be a new dance cover that I'm in by the time this comes out. Yeah, go follow me there, Starchmonger. I'll pass it to Humna.
Yes, hello, my name is Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I'm a part of. I'm on a variety of different streams, so Twitter's the best place to know where I'm at any given point in time. And now I'll pass it over to the top C.
Thank you. That is my title. Hi, my name is Sia. I use they, them pronouns. I play Okahyan, also the top. Also in love with an everything bagel. If you know, you know. You can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at PieSharpArt. Check out what I'm doing over there. I'm on a lot of stuff. Maybe it's out by that now, and maybe it's not. I don't know. Figure it out for yourself. And I'll pass it over to Connie.
Yay! Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. We will be back next Saturday at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. For now, we're rating someone really awesome, no doubt. Give them use our raid message in chat. Give them a shout out. Follow them if you like their stuff. We love you so much. See you next Saturday. And Bijou!